part of the reason I really wanted to do this is just to further document what it is that you guys have been doing all this time. Because, I think I originally came to Checkeditout because my wife, Katie, had sort of brought me to Checkeditout as a surprise. So I got my first Porsche in 2015. And one day she said, "Hey, I got some tickets to this thing. I think you're going to enjoy it. So let's get breakfast and then we'll head over there." And it ended up being Checkeditout. So I had no idea what to expect. And I think upon walking in, I had the impression that everyone sort of has, is where you would expect it to be kind of stuffy or like,
Yeah,
there's going to
right.
be like, and of course there are insane cars here, but you just, you build it up to be something that it's not
Yeah.
in a good way, to find out that it actually is something really enjoyable to be a part of.
Yeah.
So we kept coming back every year since I think like 2018 or 17 or something. And I've just learned much more about it
Mhm.
every year and realized what it actually is. I podcasted with Adam, I think last November or something like that.
It was right after last year's event.
Yeah, September maybe. And then that really helped me realize what this actually was as well, from a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
And that was when I learned how just like awesomely strange Adam is. And, you're into so much different, like artistic things and different music. And, and that's when I realized, I was like, there is a huge bond here between what the gym is into. Because we're a gym, but we really like leaning into the artistic side of it,
Yeah.
and kind of letting it flourish into whatever it needs to turn into. And that's what I think Checkeditout kind of does.
Yeah, it's the antithesis of the stuffy Porsche event you would think it might be.
Yeah.
But just that multi-channel thing where you can, there's a whole bunch of outlets, a whole bunch of ways to be creative with it, ways to enjoy it, and ways to connect with people.
Yeah.
And you have some really meaningful conversations with people here.
Yeah.
I've the last years of being involved in this, I've made more friends than the first 40 years of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the variety of the people too,
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, it's cliche, the cars, but it's the people literally that come together. And here afterwards, the new friends that we meet every year, and they come back. We see the ones from Colorado, from, Ohio, from Arkansas, and they come for one of our events, and then they'll be back the next year. They come, they bring their friends, and now we become such great friends with people from all over. And this is on their calendar every year. So it's a great event.
Are we going for it, or are we warming up here?
Oh, we're going. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're.
Let it rip.
So we got to speak louder, don't we?
Yeah.
I
I guess we need to talk very loud because of the background.
All right.
I know it's no problem for you.
Yeah.
But you weren't doing it. That's the thing. You were at a library place.
No,
Go hit it.
You got to talk like the G-Man.
All right.
your point. I saw today when I backed my car in and I opened the door, and the guy next to me started talking to me. His son started talking to me. The family next to me started talking to me. It's just so easy. And you can really tell that is sort of like the unspoken culture that you guys have going with this show or this event. And I think that's why people want to be a part of it,
We are just here to have fun. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I told, I think it's James, the guy, him and his dad have like a yellow 914. And I was talking to them.
The Cotilles.
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah. And I was talking to them earlier, and I said, the thing that made me realize that I could put my Targa in Checkeditout, because my Targa is far from perfect, just like a lot of people's cars, I'm sure, was that when I came last year, I saw a 944 that was definitely not been cleaned for the last 5 or 10 years. And it was mechanically sound, it looks like, but it's not the cleanest, most impressive car. And that's what made me realize, I was like, none of this actually matters in the sense of impressing people. Or like, I mean, there are impressive cars here, but the point is that you bring the thing that you're working on, or the thing that you're passionate about, and that you're improving slowly over time, right?
Yeah.
And that seems to be the idea.
Yeah,
Well,
it's evolution, sort of.
Evolution. And as you say, that car that's going to be possibly even a little bit of rust on it, but the character and the stories it has behind it, that goes even further than a car that comes off the lot a week ago or so. I'm not saying anything about that
We like
guy.
that too. But
Yeah, we love that too. I mean, everybody likes to see it, especially the younger generation really likes to see it. It's good eye candy for the camera. But what's really nice is the other cars that have that little rock nick on the front. They have seen a story, and they've been with us on these events. the rallies. They've been with us at these other events, Cars and Coffee. Now they maybe shy away from that. They come to this, they'll go to the rallies, they'll go to the autocross, they'll track their car, all that, and there's a story to it. Absolutely every little scratch, every nick on the car, and that's what we like, and we want to talk about that. And if you talk with that guy about that one little nick on his hood, the big nick that he got, and he'll tell you it was that semi-trailer that kicked up a rock when they're on the gravel road, and they happen to have that one tractor or something in front of them,
Yeah, it almost seems like a point of pride to a degree that that's the thing that makes your car unique.
It definitely is. You can have too perfect of a car.
Yeah.
And a beautiful brand new car in the dealership, it doesn't have any story behind it.
Yeah.
It's got the story of being built at the factory, but everybody knows that.
Sure.
If there's no personal story to that stuff.
Yeah.
And it tells a lot about the person itself. That guy wants to bring that car and he's not shy to show it off, I mean, he wants to talk about it and he's not worried. He's not going to run behind somebody and say, oh, my car's scratched. It's dirty. It's, today it rained on some of these cars, so I felt pretty good about that.
The turnout is so incredible, that it just seems like every year it gets bigger and better and more interesting. It's not just the sheer volume in the cars, but just the amount of different cars that show up. I think it allows people to know that they can bring whatever it is they have through. They don't have to worry about all these minuscule things that don't really matter too much.
And the different people that show up. And especially, so like this setting right here, you're capturing not just the regular attendees or new people, first-time attendees to the event.
Yeah.
You're capturing people from the neighborhood who just happen to be out walking with their kid or their dog. They're like, what's going on here? And then you start talking to them. They're like, what is, and you can spread it beyond just the aficionado.
Yeah, there was a lady that came out of her apartment earlier, and she was like right behind the parking lot where my car was at. And she said her son woke her up and was like, Mom, there's a bunch of Porsches outside. What's going on? And I guess they just ran out in their pajamas. They weren't even dressed. And they were freaking out that all these cars were out here. And she said, we saw a bunch of them driving around yesterday, but we didn't know what was going on. We should have known that there was an event here. And it's kind of awesome. The neighborhood just kind of gets a little surprised,
Yeah.
Maybe next year I'd like to see that somebody comes up to us and say, they saw these cars and they picked out a new car and they bought it, or else they went to find an old car. Because, it's really great when you got somebody that's been around cars or something and they've been looking for that old G body or 914 or anything like that, and come over here and they'll see every car over here and they'll be able to pick from that the colors. They can say, oh, I never seen that color before, now I can. And hopefully next year they come by and say, I saw your guys' cars here last year, and since then I bought this car and I love it more than anything,
Yeah.
And you'll hear that.
Dave Sorensen is that guy.
Mr. Audi at that time.
Introduced himself to us somehow, wanted to volunteer.
Yeah.
He wanted to get a feel for the culture.
Yeah.
And it took him 2 years maybe till he finally pulled the trigger on buying a car.
Seems like there's a lot of dipping your toes that kind of happens to this.
It's a commitment, I mean,
it's a good thing
obviously.
because it allows you to figure out what's going on before you just jump into it. And I feel like people want to stick around a little more when you do that.
Yeah, it was
he's never looked back. He loves it.
Right. He's gone in.
Now, when this all started, can you kind of walk me through how Checkeditout began? Because if I remember right, I thought that there was kind of just like a brief mention of it or a discussion about like, what if, or like, have you ever thought about doing that? And I just want to kind of see how it started.
Yeah, you're alluding to the
Andy got involved.
Oscar Bauer comment about if there was an outlaw Porsche event in Chicago. This is following a Lift Cult 4.
Okay.
So that's really like the little seed that started it all. I don't know where you made that comment. I've tried to look on other people's pages thinking about who could you send it to or whatever.
Yeah.
Never been able to find that, but that's where just the idea was planted in my head.
Yeah.
And then to come with him later being like, if you seriously think about this Porsche thing, let's do it,
And Andy, how did you get involved? Or were you there from day one? Just because I wanted to figure out what the timeline was there. And you also run Midwest Performance Cars.
Correct.
And so I just wanted to see what your connection was to it. And was Midwest already in operation before that? I just wanted to see how all that landed.
Right. So I've owned the company since 2014. This was January of 2018. Adam and I were both at a swap meet in January. It's the only car thing around the Midwest that you're going to have to go to.
Yeah.
And he just approached me and he said, would you be interested in working to put on a Porsche event that's in Chicago.
Mhm.
And that was like music to my ears because our main shop is in Chicago.
Yeah.
And most of Porsche events are always taking place in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And you have to drive out there. It's a thing, you know.
Yeah.
And Chicago has so many great settings, so many great visual settings.
Yeah.
To be able to juxtapose these cars against that backdrop.
Yep.
And I was immediately on board. I was just, that's a great idea.
Kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. Just tell me what you need from me. And then we started, you know, taking it from there. And then of course I wanted to just have the business as a part of it, supporting the whole enterprise.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's like a nice offshoot from something you already have going on.
Right.
Directly related.
Right. And it also really helps to engage all of our staff at the business with the community.
Yeah.
And because they're a bit younger than I am. And my role in the company is really coaching them up now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to get them out here and really engaging organically with people, not in a transactional setting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But in a really appreciating the cars setting.
Yeah. It's really interesting that you bring that up because, I mean, part of the reason that we're all sitting here together, you know, we're a gym. You know,
Right.
And our business model is completely different to this, other than that we run the podcast, but we always try to get involved in events. We always try to do something that's just not the normal day-to-day activity.
Mm-hmm.
And it just keeps things refreshed. And there's always something to look forward to. And it becomes something much bigger than just your baseline business model, which I'm sure you're extremely proud of your business. I am too.
Right.
But I really like expanding on that and seeing it become something much more than it originally was, just like checked it out.
Yeah.
You know,
It brings another dimension to your business.
Yeah. And Adam was telling me before we started today that you are the guy that sort of is in charge of the placement of vehicles, which I feel like from the spectator's view, maybe something that could be overlooked because they're so, you know, in awe of the actual vehicles they're looking at. And they know in the back of their head that all these things are lined up in a way that functions well with the city and the flow of traffic and the actual, you know, view, whether it's appealing or not to walk around the show. But I don't think anyone realizes, I definitely don't, what goes into that.
Oh,
And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how involving that is, the challenges, things like that.
It's a lot. And first of all, you can't do it without the guys being able to put all this together. You know, I mean, we've got such a great crew on this and it starts out, you know, finding the location. Once we find the location, then you start getting these views. And I don't live far from here, so therefore walking to the office, I, start seeing this and I start visioning where the cars are going to be, the view you want to see, the way the sun is going to hit it, the light, the shade coming in, off the trees and the buildings. And it all comes together and you start seeing it and you just don't want to have people use the term cars and coffee too much, too loosely. We don't like that term. So anyway,
why is that? Sorry,
this is a term where they just get a parking lot and they'll bring the cars one after another. And yes, you get front ends and there's, a car, you can see the front end or back end.
Yeah.
But you've got more of the side. So if you look down the street here, you got an offset them, this, that. So one shot, you're going to see the wheel, a bit of the wheel.
So
you're going to see the fender. You're going to see the curve, the hip of the back end, anything like that.
Yeah.
You turn the car, bring it around. You see, some of the crest on the, hood on the photo. You have to think of all that.
Yeah.
So it's you develop. I start out with sketches and I end up bringing up something that I want to see. And also I got to keep in mind, we got to bring them in, keep moving them in, especially like today. The rain came in, we still had to get cars in the space and all that. But I wanted to, keep it in mind that you want to see what the camera eye is going to see. It's never going to lie to you. So therefore you got to get it right. And the guys
Drones don't lie.
Exactly. And so once you get that nailed, and you get that feel of it, I think at the end of the day, people are going to actually say, they didn't realize that in that one photo, you get the front end of a Singer, and at the other end of that photo, you got the front end of a yellow Singer grabbing your attention, and you actually see it. So it draws you over there. Same with the walking experience. I want people to go from one experience to the other, a stage in a sense.
Yeah.
And they're walking through it. It's a, sort of a ongoing development all the way up to the last minutes when I print out the last set and I say, here's what we're doing. And everybody works with it. Everybody gets on the same page, and it's great. It turns out really well, I think,
Yeah, I think it's an amazing part of it, to just come through and enjoy the cars laid out the way they are. I think it really makes the event, and early on when you guys first had checked it out, did you guys think about things that far in depth, or was that like a graduation that
No,
you got
Dan made
bigger?
a design from day one.
Oh, it's pretty
Yeah, I
early
mean,
on. Okay.
right off bat, you take a look at
Wow.
our early designs, and we've got a book coming out,
Yeah.
and the book's going to show some of the designs, and it comes in from 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, every year, even during the
I think
pandemic.
it's fair to say though that us getting the Related by Midwest property with the box trucks that Catherine designed
Yes,
and the whole basketball court thing, that lent itself to you creating some kind of spacing, some kind of way to
right.
set up the cars and organize them,
Now, what
on
was the
this blank
deal with the
canvas.
box
Right.
truck? You were saying
So
Midwest related?
it still stands. It's a kind of a courtyard, what was some kind of, they had little shops in there for a while, and it was
Mhm.
supposed to be a high-rise development that they
Okay.
canceled at some point for Equinox Gyms.
Okay.
It was supposed to be like a 15-story or something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So they had this temporary, these buildings, storage containers,
Yeah.
basketball court. They were doing different kind of workouts there.
Yeah.
And us being a neighbor with Haymarket Brewery getting there to use the space, and John Norrayer getting us to close Randolph,
Yeah.
which was, of course, our first street closure. We had this blank canvas of this basketball court and the adjacent property and what
I
to
see.
do with it.
Ah.
Yeah.
It was
70th
basically a rectangle
Exa-
that he had to make something creative on, which
Yeah,
he did.
So
I
you
see.
take a rectangle and you put a circle in it, anything like this, and you make it something that's going to be a little special. And people are going to walk through there and they're going to say, "Wait, aren't cars supposed to be lined up one after another?"
Yeah,
No,
I
it
s-
doesn't work that way.
I
with
see the
us.
distaste for the front and back. And
Yeah. Well, you can really see it in the photography that subsequently
Yeah.
comes out of these every event,
yeah.
because the photography, it gives you such different perspectives on the cars
Yeah.
that you wouldn't get if they were just lined up parallel parked.
Yeah.
You get a little niche that people could walk into, get this different perspective of the car.
Yeah.
You can look down this entire line, down the street we have over here. You look down there, you're going to see every color of car, and they look like they're entwined like a weave. Literally, I think of, everything down from engine parts to fabric in the car, and you see this houndstooth weave all the way down the
Yeah.
street. Yet you see green, yellow, orange, silver, blue,
Yeah.
black. And this is something that you don't see every day, and you're never going to see it again until a year later,
That's
possibly,
true. And you're exactly right, because when I was I was here pretty early today, and I was here early enough where I could hear a lot of the coordinators in the street, and they were placing cars based on color, the
Right.
size of car.
He can't stand two
You will
two
not
similar
see-
colors next to each other.
You will not see black, 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 or silver,
Yeah.
silver, silver. You're going to, no matter what, we'll pass on a black car just to get a red car in there. But anyway, but it's the little things like that
Yeah.
that you've got to notice, and it changes the perspective of an entire event, because it's, people want to see that. They don't realize it until afterwards, and they'll look at it and they'll think about it and say, wow, that was different.
Yeah, it really does make a big difference. And that was one of the things I didn't realize that I took for granted coming to all these shows, because I would always show up at like 11 o'clock and walk through and everything's already going. And so being here early enough and actually seeing how it's put together, I was like, man, that is so smart.
It's like a dance, I mean,
Yeah.
I look at it that way. It's sort of
Yeah.
an event in itself, so we love it when the cameras are,
Yeah.
sort of filming people, taking a look at it,
Yeah.
and they see it, because it's not
Yeah.
your typical, you just park here, you there, this, that. It is something that everybody looks at it. We got such a great crew that they actually know now
Yeah.
that somebody's going to come around, me
Yeah.
bark at them or something like that.
Yeah.
You're going to bark at,
And-
and you're going to, and it happens, we
Yeah,
get it all
and
together.
And the thing that was important too is, like, I think about that first year, we tried to organize and curate where almost everything went to a T. And what a fool's mission that was. So
It's like
stupid.
a foolish mission, you said?
Oh,
Yes,
boy.
because it's just not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
You work with the guys that are used to be a part of this event, and they could think on their feet
Yeah.
to have different models, different colors, and in separate areas, and keep it fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's noticeable. How have you noticed the media changing over the years as far as photography or video or social media goes? Because I've noticed a progression, but, being you guys in charge of this and you're seeing it firsthand,
Well,
has the involvement of media?
I'll tell you one thing that's really funny with back to the book is first 2 years are pretty much, I don't know, 2 or 3 gigs of data of photos on our, my hard drive with
Yeah.
everything.
Uh-huh.
And then we go to, like, I don't know, I'm using terms of numbers off the top of my head, but 30 gigs, you know, just literally just
Yeah.
blows up, you know.
Oh, and another thing, the youth, which is really great. You see a lot of young photographers come in and, hey, you know, the more the merrier on that, you know, and so they're coming out there, and I think it's great to see.
How many media credentials did you?
30.
Yeah.
30.
Yeah. It seems like it just keeps multiplying every year that I come back. And it's funny because when you see 3 different photographers from 3 different angles taking a picture of the same car,
Mhm.
on one hand, you originally think about it and you're like, oh, that's kind of silly, right? Because it's all 3 taking the same picture of the same object. But in reality, it's like they all need to be there. They all need that angle particularly because it all adds up to be something a lot bigger than what it is. And it just really shows how much people are paying attention to this.
Yeah.
And I know those photos are going to end up somewhere great. That's going to invite more people to the show. Someone's going to see it on a social media account, you know, on a poster.
Everything's very intentional.
Yeah.
I mean, all the planning, the layout, but the way the people come around and make their photographs.
Yeah.
It's a really high intent.
Yeah.
It's not just one off.
And you guys seem very inviting to it too. I feel like it's very easy
Try to
for
be.
people to come in and want to do that.
Very liberal on that
Yeah.
sense.
I always thank everyone for coming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm
Dave,
sorry. No, I was just going to say, and a great thing about when it leaks out there to the world or what have you, you know, or at least the country. We had a couple years ago, we had a pop-up in Indianapolis during sports car, you know, Together Fest with Porsche and Lufka Cult out there. And it turned out to be an incredible event. We had people from all over the country just because they saw a few photos from somebody previously from the Chicago group of people have checked it out. So that was pretty interesting. And then we did another little pop-up out in California for Rensport in Monterey. And the draw, it pulled in. And the people that came in, and if you ask them today, any person that was there that day, they're going to think that was a great event. And it was. And it was we put it together so nicely and quickly in a sense. I mean, we did scope out a couple sites, everything from a winery to a bowling alley, you know, a mid-century bowling alley to this great lot. And
I thought that would have been cool, but they didn't understand the concept.
I know.
The bowling alley there.
Yeah. I mean, maybe down the line we will have a little pop-up somewhere of a bowling alley.
Supposed to be like a throwback kind of thing? Was that the idea?
No, we were just kind of looking for a unique venue in Monterey at the time, and the exterior was very mid-century.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the interior of this bowling alley was ruined, but not like we were going to put cars inside.
Yeah. I'll never know. Maybe down the road. Talk to me about your guys' book. The book's called Off the Map. Is that?
Yes.
And so, how did this all come together?
So
and,
off the map, the term itself comes from your old buddy Adam Hurlburn.
Okay. Yeah.
So in one of the forwards he wrote, and it, you know, the whole concept is Chicago is maybe not on the car world's map. They don't think of us as a car destination like California or whatever. Or, you know, places with great drives because we don't necessarily have them. But there's that aspect, and then just kind of on the flip side of that, there's exploration, which we like to do. You know, we drive the cars, we go places, we see things, and we also experiment and push the creative hard here with the event. So it's all relative to that line of thinking.
Yeah. And it seems like the car culture here is really growing. I mean, I know that a lot of people outside of Chicago don't really see it that way, but someone who lives here, I feel like it really is changing quite a bit. It seems
a lot of people just think of the car culture between, you know, May and maybe October.
Yeah.
We carry it on, especially with the friends we've made. We've carried it on into November through February seasons.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a Porsche to get that to happen, you know. We all get together, we travel.
Yeah.
It's an incredible
That's a good point.
Conversation amongst people because all these new situations come up. I mean, this year we all traveled. We had 20 of us out of the Checkeditout group. We went to Goodwood out in Festival of Speed out in the UK.
Yeah. Adam mentioned that a while ago.
Yeah. And I mean, in the past, we had a big group go out, you know, for Rensport reunion. You know, I mean, we aren't shy about somebody throws out an idea and we follow through and everybody gets on board and people can have fun out there, but they all get together and we sort of carry the spirit on, you know.
Yeah, of course.
One of our most popular events, this is the main event.
Yeah.
The first Saturday in December, we have a toy drive for Marine Corps Toys for Tots.
Oh, yeah, I did that one year.
It's one of the most fun events because it's a great kickoff to the holidays. Everybody looks forward. We all gather together. We have coffee and everything, then go for a drive in December.
Yeah.
And what are what are the odds of it being dry every December for that event? And we've been lucky about it. It could be a lot of snow here, but we've been fortunate, and that is such a nice event.
Yeah, the one I went to a few years ago was like 50 degrees randomly.
Yeah.
And some of these photos are going to become, they're going to be on the book, so the book is going to have so much, dialogue of what's happened throughout, tossing
Well,
in
the
this,
one
that.
point about the toy drive is, it was created in 2020, and it's what was going on then. We were worried, what is our future going into? Is this going to kill the event? This thing that has just been born, we're having fun with it and everything. We wanted to try to stay relevant.
Right.
Of course, raise, bring toys together for everywhere. Toys are tops. And then of course, the natural thing was like, okay, yeah, we're a Porsche event, but the kids don't give a shit what you drive. Just bring a toy.
Yeah.
And then we got all kinds of other cool
That's a
cars
good
to
point.
show up,
Yeah.
and it's,
So when is the book out? When does it come out? It's not out yet, right?
so we're hoping now. We had a few delays in printing because the things being the way they are, but we're hoping early December.
Early December.
So,
Okay.
Maybe if we're really lucky, we'll have a toy drive. We'll have the book available. And then we can also present Crushers Club with their check for 2025.
Yeah.
Which, doing the big check presentation is always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Before we get into the Crushers Clubs, I did want to ask you about that. As far as the other contents that are in the book, I know you described what the idea of the book is, but what is in the book, sort of front to back, so we can get an idea of what's in there? Because
so each year has a foreword.
Okay. Each year does, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
So Andy Checkle, number 1.
Okay. So you did the first one?
I did.
All right.
Yeah. It was really fun, like just reliving that whole experience.
It all began.
You were talking about the
Genesis.
beginning, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Now, was that a difficult thing for you to write, to organize it, or did it kind of just fall onto the paper? Because I know that sometimes thinking back that far is, like, the memories are there, but when you explain it to someone else, it'd be kind of difficult. Yeah.
It wasn't as much, it didn't have to do as much with the details of that day. It had more with the spirit of actually creating this event, putting it on the setting, which is right off the Kennedy Expressway, with the skyline in the background, and starting this thing that would eventually be 7 years down the road and grow to 5, 6x what it was first time.
Yeah.
So I did have some of the individual memories, but that's not the really important thing. It's really giving them a flavor for how this event started.
Yeah.
And then kind of setting a stage for the subsequent years.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people to know, because a lot of people might show up next year, see this big, huge thing, and that's a good impression to have. But if they see what it actually was year to year, it can hold more value than just, there's a lot of badass cars here.
Right. Plus, why did we do it? Right? Adam and I, we're both from Chicago, then lived here our whole lives.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do something that was really in the fin. Dan's lived here for a number of years now, that really wove into the fabric of the city and showcased the city in its best light.
Yeah.
Right?
It really does that too. Like when I just parked my car earlier, I looked around and I'm like, man, I can't believe I just get to hang out here underneath a shade tree, and the skyline is here, and like we're in the West Loop, and it's like the cars are beautiful, and then the backdrop is like a whole nother thing, and it makes me really proud to live here. And it's funny because I had a friend who I asked to come down. I said, hey, you should come down. And they go, man, why do they have it in the West Loop? Why don't they have it out in the burbs? There's all this room. I'm like, dude, this is not in the burbs.
Right.
And we don't
alley,
live in the burbs.
What is it about human nature that makes you feel compelled to do the same thing that everyone else does?
I don't know what that is. I think it's just like an uncomfortable
It's
feeling.
the same thing as the guys, an empty parking lot, and the car goes here, and then someone parks right next to that person.
Yeah. I think about it as there's certain things that you have to sacrifice a little bit for the city, and it's almost like a tax. And I'm always happy to pay that tax because I know where I'm at, and I know the people that are here are hungry, and they want to do things, and they want to see things come about. And I don't think it should be anywhere else. I don't think it should be in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's fine. But for this particularly, it belongs here, even if it's in community park or if there's a lot of people or whatever. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I think there's more important things folks are.
Example right here.
Yeah.
Look behind us here,
Yeah.
and you look at this. This is actually a rectangular parking lot. Do you see a car that's parked
like gorgeous
between the lines? Not at all.
Adam's
This is
car is
something-
sideways. I don't know if you know it or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the Crushers Club, because it was really funny when we came over here to set up for the podcast today. I met Sir Jaden, if I think that's his name, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
And it was funny because we just started chatting randomly. He was asking me about my tattoos, where I got them, and I told him I was going to connect him with, our tattoo lady. And then I realized that was Crushers Club, and we were actually looking at their Instagram through your Instagram.
Okay.
And the lady who does our tech stuff a lot, her name's Shara, and we're doing a podcast down the road that is probably going to discuss some of what their mission is, just by chance. So running into them today was just really, really coincidental.
Yeah.
And then, realizing that you guys sponsor them. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that is and how you got
Well,
involved.
this is the 4th year.
Okay.
So initially we wanted to do a different cause every year. It did take a lot of work to find worthy causes and everything. And it became if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and we know that Crushers proves what they do. They were saying last night they have 150 young men out there working, which is just phenomenal. What they're doing is great. It's been supporting them for all this point. Now I'm a board member of Crushers Club, so they're here to stay in terms of us supporting them.
What do they do exactly, just for myself? And
Many
other people that
different
are unaware?
businesses. They actually pay the guys to go work at this shop or whatever the case may be, whatever kind of business it is.
I see.
So they take on the financial risk through contributions. They're giving this young man work experience.
I see.
They're in all kinds of, trades or
Yeah.
restaurant business. They got going on right now. Their apparel business, which they're pressing up T-shirts, and they've been quite busy. They do well, and they're learning entrepreneurship too.
Are they located in a certain neighborhood in Chicago?
Inglewood. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And they also provide mentorship to us.
Okay.
So I was talking to Chris, one of the mentors.
Yeah.
He's a super impressive guy. He runs his trucking business from 4 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. Then he goes over to Crushers and works with these young men to just mentor, tell them about the opportunities, tell them that you can actually do it.
Yeah.
Right. And here's some of the basic steps to be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have a firsthand example right in front of you.
Right.
I grew up around a lot of people that potentially could have had choices, but they didn't have the right people in front of them.
Right.
And people didn't spend the time with them as they could have.
Right.
So they feel like they didn't have a choice.
Right.
And
Right. We take it for granted because generally we grew up around people who did give us that guidance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky to grow up in a household that to me was standard.
Right.
And then as I got into high school and college and then became a full-fledged adult, I realized that was extremely rare.
Right.
I remember that I used to be in a band a long time ago, and we were on tour, and we happened to be passing through my parents' town. So we stopped by, said hi to them. I think we got dinner with them or something, and we go out to the van to get back in the van and get back on the road. And I gave my dad a hug, and he said, "I love you." And the guy in my band was like, "What was that, man?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You and your dad hug each other, and then you say you love each other?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what we do." And he's like, "I've never heard that from my dad." And that was one of my first realizations that how lucky I was to grow up in a household like that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome that you guys are providing people with, those opportunities, even if it's from, random car guys or, whatever the source is helping them out. But that's pretty awesome.
Well, and that's the thing, being from Chicago, this is the way you address the problem of no opportunity of bombed out neighborhoods.
Yep.
It's the boots on the ground, the people who are actually doing the hard work.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So any way we can assist them, funding or an example or just people to be around. Like Sir Jaden took my number and he's like, "I want to call you because I have some questions about entrepreneurship."
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
"Call me anytime."
Yeah.
Happy to do it.
Yeah. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but me and Shara were talking about doing a podcast, and Shara grew up on sort of the southwest side of the city, and we were basically wanting to discuss sort of the differences between, like living, in Wrigleyville versus living 2 miles in a different direction. And obviously there's going to be differences in the neighborhood that you're in the city, in every city. But we were just talking about how like we eventually don't want to see such a drastic difference between neighborhood and neighborhood,
Right.
where it seems like in one neighborhood, people really give a shit about the people there and the situation, and other neighborhoods, no one actually cares about it.
Right.
And so that was what we wanted to talk about, is like, how can we actually change that? How can we get involved instead of just complaining about it?
Right.
So it sounds like that might be one of our sources to get involved with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa. About that's enough. So we're okay?
People helping people.
But yeah, I think that's really cool that you guys are involved with that. And the other thing I want to ask you guys about as well is that I think that Porsche obviously has really evolved, over the years, especially from the beginning all the way to now. But how have you guys seen Porsche evolve from, say, the first Checkeditout to like 25? Because I feel like now there's many different like subcultures of Porsche, and many different like sort of like variations of what Porsche means to different people. And I wanted to see what you guys had thought about how it had changed from when you started this all the way to now, because I've even noticed a few differences. I wanted to see, what different factions, are kind of involved and how it's affecting you. But
Sure.
and especially you running a shop,
Right.
I'm sure that you've noticed changes just from the clientele that comes into your shop. It could be, I guess, all in one answer, but
There's a very different passion in the Porsche aficionados that we know for that car, as different from any other brand. And I like to think, and I think it's true, that Porsche Cars North America saw that this was a really grassroots and organic channel into the Porsche community.
Yeah.
This is not a bunch of creative directors getting together and coming up with a pitch.
Yeah.
This really is very it's just very street level.
Yeah.
And in a good way.
You can tell. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a BS guy. Like I don't like involving myself.
Right. So someone or some group of people at Porsche Cars North America said, you know what, we should really take advantage of this channel.
Whoever that was is a smart group of people.
Right. Yeah.
Respect from a business level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good they're doing the right thing, but that was a good view to have on the situation. And you can tell, and I've said that to other people and friends of mine, you can tell that Porsche wants to invest in sort of like the subculture or even the past older versions of their cars. They're not forgotten about. They're not like, oh, we're focusing on the 26.
We just drove. Right. We were walking to the preview party last night.
Yeah.
We walked by a big painted billboard on the side of a building downtown Chicago that had a 1980s Porsche on it and said, "Our horses are different."
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That,
Who puts a 40-year-old car on their billboard?
Yeah.
It's an icon. It really is an icon.
Yeah. And that is a good point. That's a good word for it. Like I was thinking, past, present, future, and I kind of see it as all the same thing. I'm sure you guys do too. I think you guys might have inadvertently taught me that from just doing the show and, I guess seeing certain people online, everyone sort of sees this car as it's all the same thing. It deserves the same amount of focus and attention.
Yeah.
Have you guys?
The thing is that's what's special too, though, is the 911 G bodies like you have, like I have. Dan was rumored to have one.
You have one, or you've had?
Yeah, no, I have two. Yeah. He's rumored to have one.
Dan is. Okay,
we've never actually seen it. We've seen pictures.
I see it. Just keeping it a mystery.
We mentioned driving and all the traveling, and that platform is so robust, and if you had to daily it, you had live with it, even if you don't have power steering, it's totally manageable. And where else are you gonna get that in 40-plus-year-old car?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you just a little vignette. My son, my 22-year-old son, who's the only one of my kids who can.
They lost it again.
Organization now, South Side.
All right, sorry. Your son.
So he's the only one of my 3 kids who can drive stick.
Okay.
And I took him on a rally to West Virginia this spring, and he drove my 88 Cabriolet, and I drove my 77 Turbo.
Yeah.
And after the first day of driving, he got out of the car, came up to me and said, "Now I did it," which was amazing to hear.
Yeah.
And then he spent the next 2 days meeting all of his friends of ours that we've driven on rallies, and just really understanding
Yeah.
the feeling of the feeling of the community, feeling of the car,
Yeah.
and what it really means.
Yeah.
So that was like crazy rewarding for me to
Oh, I
hear
bet.
that.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
you will be a fan forever.
Well, I told Adam this a long time ago that when my first Porsche, which I still have, is it came in 2008, and I had a friend who sold it to me as a congratulations for starting my gym. He
Yeah.
thought it was a ballsy move.
Yeah.
He was an entrepreneur, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna make you buy my car for a price you can't say no as a congratulations for starting your business and,
That's
and
awesome.
not being scared." So I did it. I only bought the car because I originally thought it looked cool. I saw him driving it. I thought it was like a very legit, credible car to have. It makes impressions on people. When I started driving the car, that's what I realized I actually had. And then that's what led me into getting an older Porsche, because the curiosity was there for what is the bare bones like? Like, if this amazing piece of technology is great, what's,
Yeah.
no power steering and, smelling gas when you drive. And, but it makes sense that your son would drive that distance, and then no one has to explain it to you, really. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about the preview party at Porsche. I thought it was pretty cool that, they're involved and really support this, obviously, and the fact that
Well, it's a team at the Napleton dealer. So Westmont Porsche downtown Chicago, and then the new service center that they have in Naperville.
Okay, gotcha.
So they joined us, Blake and the team, in 2019 with the second event.
Gotcha.
And then, 2020 obviously was what it was, but by 2021, they wanted to have a big presence and be our presenting sponsor. So it's been, six of these things now, and it's been an incredible relationship. It was really nice to do an event at their place.
Yeah.
And we had special guests, which would be Singer Vehicle Design and Graham Ray Hall Performance. So
Yeah.
just adding a little something extra for people to come last night and take a look at.
Yeah.
And singers are
Yeah.
rock stars of Porsche world, right? So
Yeah. I saw the tan one earlier that really blew my mind. I don't know. Was that
the cream colored?
or cream? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the classic. That's with Graham Ray Hall.
Yeah.
So there's 2 in attendance.
Yeah. And so, for some of the people on our end may not know what a Singer is. Can you explain what a Singer is?
So I'll tell you what the funny thing is. Anytime a friend of mine who's not really into Porsche sends me a picture and says, "I like this car. What is this car? This is so good looking." Like, yeah, of course it's good looking.
Yeah.
Just wait till you hear the price tag. Everything is bespoke. Everything is the latest,
Yeah.
greatest technology, and still having that old look of a G-Body 911.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that works, because I've even had people do that to me too. They'll send me a link, and they're like, "Hey, this thing's really awesome."
Yeah.
I'll pull it up. I'm like, "Yeah, of course it is, man. That's a $500,000 car."
Yeah.
Whatever.
Or it was.
Started at
was
$875.
many years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they don't get ordered at that price.
What do you mean? Like,
That's
oh,
no,
the
they
base.
don't. That's the base, and they never go out the door as a base. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to work more, get a
Yeah.
better job, or I don't know. There was a guy earlier I met that very important figure. His name is Viper Scott. Yeah.
Important figure in Dan's life.
Hey,
You know that character?
he's we brought him on board. I don't know how you could say it. We pulled him out of the woods or under the rocks or what have you, but he's been a great talent to have with us. He does have a Dodge Viper, yes, and he bought it brand
That's
new
what I heard,
and
yeah.
originally ordered it. So that's pretty spectacular. I don't want to tell him that. I don't want him to get a big head, but his wife, out of everybody, wants to get a
Yeah.
1970 Albert Blue 911T,
Yeah.
and so therefore they've got it in their blood right now that they
Oh.
do want a Porsche. So
Okay.
they'll get the bite, and they
Maybe
will
there's
get
a little bit of hope. The Viper
Yes.
is sick, though. I kind of
Yes.
really
Yeah.
wish I had a
You
Viper,
know.
but
Yeah.
But he's a good guy, and
It's probably
it's
one of
like
those
everybody
things too, especially an early one you might want to buy now because you might regret it down the road someday.
Right.
Wasn't there?
that's true. Yeah, he let us illegally park earlier. We were trying to load all of our stuff in, and whoops. Oh, yeah.
Need more sandbags, I think.
Yeah.
How about that cooler? We'll move
Maybe you
that
can
cooler
just
over
hold it
there.
for like 5 minutes. Roll with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, he was really, really nice, and he helped us kind of like get our car in the right spot. And he goes, "Hey, make sure you mention me on the podcast later." He goes, Adam will love it.
Nice.
Snuck his way in there.
Yeah. He does have
He
motor
deserves a
oil.
mention because
Yeah.
he puts a lot of
Yeah.
work into it.
He does
Yeah,
have motor
great
oil in
friend.
his blood, you know?
Yeah, no, he is awesome. And that was the other thing that kind of led me to is I wanted to ask you briefly about, do you think that there's some sort of interaction between the low-end garage and the Checkeditout or Porsche community? Because I feel like they lean on each other a little
Well,
bit.
I mean, those are my brands. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
so.
I feel like that allows...
So you can look at Checkeditout as being an event that low end produces.
Yeah.
You know, basically.
Gotcha. So low end's more of like a parent, I guess, of the two
In a
events
certain
or
sense,
something like
yeah.
that.
So
Yeah, I
and
feel like
view low end as a creative agency and content and
Yeah.
everything else.
that's kind of the vibe that it puts out. And Andy, I did have a quick question for you. You know, from one business owner to the other, and like we were talking about Jaden earlier, he was like, "Hey, I want to call you and ask you some questions." And
Yeah.
one of the questions that I had for you specifically is, you've had a business since, is it 14? Was that what it was, or even
This business since 14. Yeah.
Midwest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and you have, I'm assuming, other businesses prior. Or...
So I was in the commodity business for 30 years before that.
Okay, got it. Well, this would be even better question for all of it then. But, I guess as a multi question is that whether it is the car sector of life or just being an entrepreneur, have there been times where with cars, or your other businesses where you've, been extremely challenged or, where you think you're on top of the world and then the next thing you know, it's like you're motivating yourself to get up out of bed to face the day, and because I've had the gym for, it'll be 11 years in September,
Mhm.
and it's been mostly extremely enjoyable and
Right.
very rewarding.
Right.
But the other thing I've noticed is that because we've been withstanding and we're continuing,
Mhm.
there's more times that affect me in ways where I feel like, I'm in a haze for 2 weeks straight where
Mhm.
I'll talk to people and I'm not actually there
Right.
physically because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do
Right.
about my problem. And, you don't have to get too in depth, but I just wanted to see like, what your experiences with that and how you view those times now. As I'm sure they're much easier now than the first time that happened or the second time that happened.
Sure. So that's a great question. I mean, I started out in my first career when I was 22 years old. I was basically the youngest guy at on the floor that I traded at Chicago Board of Trade.
Mhm.
And I had to take a ton of risk to get started.
Yeah.
And my thinking was, I'm 22. If I blow up, I can get 2 jobs and work it off by 30. I'll be back to even.
Yeah.
That was just my
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
And when you come at it from, well, I don't have much,
Yeah.
but if I put in the work and I do take the risk, an intelligent risk, I got a shot
Yeah.
at building something.
Yeah.
At building something that can then provide opportunities for other people. Because I got to tell you, at this point in my career, the most rewarding thing to me is the fact that I have 23 people working at our 3 shops.
Yeah.
And when they buy a car, buy a house, or had a kid,
Yeah.
it's really rewarding to me that we're able to provide an opportunity that they can build a life.
Yeah.
So that when things get tough,
Mm.
it's much easier for me to think, hey, I gotta plow through this because I got 23 people dependent on that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's less about you.
It's less
specifically.
about me.
I like that. Yeah. I'm really glad I asked that. I mean, even when you were describing your answer, I've thought about certain situations at our gym where, someone comes on, they're a new trainer. 3 years later, they'll go on a vacation to a place that they've never been to and maybe never had the opportunity to go to before
Right.
because of the business,
Right.
because of what it is that we're doing. And we're helping people just like you are. You're making people happy through
Right.
cars and their passions and their dreams.
Right.
We're helping people get healthy,
Yeah.
stay alive,
Yeah.
live a long life, be strong for their family, et cetera. And, and it is nice seeing those rewards, but that's a really good point. I'll think about that next time, I'm in the storm a
Right.
little bit because it kind of takes you out of it. It's almost like when you have a problem, and if you try to help other people out,
Yeah.
it kind of disengages you from being so, messed
Wrapped up
and-
in it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic advice.
And the parallel to you helping get people get and stay healthy is I kind of look at our business as we're trying to, we have a small part in keeping these great cars that we really have a truly a love for and appreciation of what they are.
Yeah.
Keeping them on the road.
Yeah.
And keeping people enjoying them.
Yeah.
Because they provide so much enjoyment and they connect people.
Yeah. And you're totally right. And like the one thing I was going to mention to you, Adam, is that the, 10 or so people that I talked to today, many of them were older than me.
Yeah.
And I look at that as an opportunity to figure out what I can take away from that conversation, whether it's a personality trait or view on the world or just experience, or just something they can tell me about my own car, or their own car. And I feel like if we don't have that connection to other generations, it's like we may not be lost, but we could probably be a lot more meaningful about what our path is if we stay connected to, people like
Well,
that.
I think there's a point in time where you're in a phase of your life where you need to be listener, which is, it takes people a long time. Let's take, for instance, a certain young friend of ours. If anyone needs to learn to listen, it's him.
You got to add an initial there, G maybe?
But then at a certain point, which I'm probably on the cusp of, I have what do you call it? The milestone birthday next year.
How old are you going to be?
50.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
And then you're in Andy's shoes, you're being a mentor, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It took me 40 years to learn how to listen. So, but it's much better to be able to actually hear people to say instead of just figuring out what you want to get out to other people. It's just so ass backwards. So, well, hey, this was an incredible event. I really, really enjoyed doing this podcast. I've of course like to have you guys back on in the future, and thanks for the invite to do the podcast at your show. And this has been awesome.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Dan.
it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Dan.
Anytime.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. That'll do it, Matt.
Great.
Cool. Great.